Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T with Chicago Bears 360, back with another live video for you, live show. Do me a favor as you come in the comment section. If you're first time viewer, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We got a lot to talk about today. Is week 7, the Raiders at Bears. Let me turn this down. The Raiders at Bears. Got a lot to talk about. Tyson Bagent gets to start the day, update on Justin Fields, and we'll give our predictions and scores and, have a talk about a bunch of other stuff, related to the Bears. So tap in. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's your first time joining us, and enjoy the show. We'll get right into it. Let's go.
Life like chess, move to pieces, I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And just like that, we're back. It's Coach T with Chicago Bears 360. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today, a lot to get into. So let's see what we're going to be talking about a little bit, what we're going to be discussing. Bagent gets to start versus the Raiders. The update on Justin Fields. Survey says, I took a Twitter survey yesterday, asked a few questions about, the makeup of this team, kind of the results of this team over the last 2 years to see what the fans had to say. Because I was curious about a couple subjects. One related to the growing controversy, QB controversy in Chicago, and the divide, if you will, between the field soldiers and the Bagent agents, and then some other things. So we'll get into it real fast, and we'll talk about it, discuss it, and see how you feel about it. So real fast, let's do a real recap of where we at and how we got here. Of course, last Sunday versus the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings, we were struggling in the first half, and Justin Fields took a big L out there by dislocating his thumb on his wrist. No surgery was required, thank God. However, he did have extensive swelling, and according to Dan Weirder, that the swelling is beginning to go down. So that's good news. Now, there were conflicting reports from Ian Rappaport that this could still take 2 to 3 weeks to heal. So we don't know how long it is. Realistically, we're going to have to deal with deal with conflicting stories first of all, but we don't know how long the injury will take to heal. So there you have it. So now we're here versus the Raiders. Tyson Bagent gets to start versus the Raiders at home. And Bears fans are curious. Bears fans want to know exactly what we have in this kid. And if you remember, Tyson Bagent was at the Senior Bowl. He was at the Senior Bowl with Luke Getsy. So Luke Getsy got to see him up close at the Senior Bowls. The draft happens. Tyson goes undrafted, so he becomes an undrafted free agent signing. I'm sure Luke Getsy pounded the table for him after seeing him up close. And let's be realistic, fans. Let's be realistic. Let's not sugarcoat it. Tyson Bagent fits what Luke Getsy wants to do in his system a little bit better, or some way say a lot better than Justin Fields. Justin Fields wants to run the ball, go heavy play action, and get the vertical game going, and use his big arm to make big plays in his offense. However, conversely, Luke Getsy wants to, spread the offense out in shotgun and kind of dink and dunk you down the field with a more West Coast style offense there in Chicago. And that's been the root cause of the conflict between Justin Fields and Luke Getsy. So enter Tyson Bagent on today, and today we get to see if it's Justin Fields or Luke Getsy, because today, really, Luke Getsy gets to start his guy. His guy gets to go out and get all the reps live versus NFL talent versus the Raiders versus this Max Crosby-led defense, who's a dog on that end, right? So he gets to go out and see what he can do versus NFL competition, first ones, if you will, first string competition on today. And we're going to get to see, again, if it's Justin Fields or it's Luke Getsy, because guess one thing is going to happen for sure. If Luke Getsy's offense works with Tyson Bagent, then you're going to see more production. But there's a little bit of twist to this, right? We already know how Luke wants to play doesn't fit Justin's skill set or his style of play, if you will, his history, his pathology, if you will, or where he comes from. But with Tyson Bagent, it kind of does. So my expectation is that it'll be a better fit. It'll be a better fit. The kid will get the ball out of his hands. He's going to rack up some yards. He may put together a couple good drives. But ultimately, Luke Getsy's inexperience as an offensive coordinator and play caller will come into effect. People forget that Luke Getsy did not call plays prior to his job with Chicago, his hiring in Chicago as offensive coordinator. He was a quarterback's coach, and he wasn't really the guy next to the guy when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Paul Hackett is Aaron Rodgers' guy. So Luke was somewhere in the mix, but he really wasn't, you know what I'm saying? He really wasn't Aaron Rodgers' guy. His guy in New York with him, which was Paul Hackett, who he defended when Sean Payton came after him in the offseason about the job he did in Denver. Matter of fact, they actually let Mike LaFleur, who's Green Bay's head coach, is the brother of Green Bay head coach, Matt LaFleur, they let his brother go so they could hire Paul Hackett and bring Paul Hackett in so you can make the situation more comfortable for Aaron. So Aaron got his guy, the actual guy that he trusts with him in New York. So Luke Getsy was not necessarily his guy, but Luke Getsy was there doing his tenure. He got to watch and witness both eras, the Aaron Rodgers era, and I believe some of the Brett Favre era, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, what I believe Luke Getsy gets a lot of his coaching pedigree from is the Mike McCarthy style offense. The Mike McCarthy style offense. And we know how Mike McCarthy's offense is faring in Dallas after they fired Kellen Moore. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I believe the offense is dated. I'm on record for saying that. I've been a Luke Getsy, not hater, but critic for 2 seasons now, because I really see from an X's and O's standpoint, and not just me, other people out there. There have been JT McDaniels. There have been Tim Jenkins. There has been Kurt Warner. There have been others that have criticized the coaching ability of Luke Getsy in his offense. So when you guys hear me do a show, you see me tweet or something like that, it's nothing against Tyson Bagent, right? I want the kid to do well, be well. However, most of his job today is going to be overcoming Luke Getsy. And my expectation is he will be able to, the offense would probably look more fluid because he's getting the ball out of his hand. The offense will probably, even though they may have 3 and outs and such, you know what I'm saying? It's going to look like more fluid offense because there is continuity between Tyson Bagent and Luke Getsy in the style of play that Luke Getsy wants to play in Chicago. So it's going to look fluid because those are his Luke Getsy style of play and Justin Fields style of play are totally contrasting styles of play in what Justin came from and what Luke came from. And they've been trying to play nice and try to be, you know what I'm saying, harmonious in that situation and smile for the media. But the reality is it's like oil and water. You know what I'm saying? It's like a bad marriage that they're trying to make work. It's just not working out, but y'all keep going to counseling and y'all go to counseling. And you know what I'm saying? You're trudging along and you got, you know what I'm saying? You know, we saw what happened when Luke acquiesced to Justin's style of play versus Denver and versus the Washington Commanders. When he went more 12 personnel, ran the ball out of heavy formation, kept extra bodies in for protection, we saw that the offense was more productive in that situation. So I'm going to skip down to a part of the show and kind of do this out of order because I think it's a great segue into what I want to discuss anyway. So this is one of the surveys that I put out on Twitter yesterday, and I want you to check it out. I said, how would you classify yourself? I'm sorry, that's the wrong survey. I said, how many do Bears have 4 wins in the last 2 seasons so far? How many of those wins would you credit Getsy style of play for? Of the 4 wins that we've had in 2 years, the majority, and over 34 people voted, said they would classify and give credit to Luke Getsy. 62% they would give him one credit for 1 game. 29% said they would give him credit for 2. 6% said 3, and 3% said 4 in that survey. Now, I want to let y'all in on something. That's just the people that answered. There was numerous people in the comments that said, listen, can you give me the option of 0? So I want to ask you guys in the chat, in the last 2 seasons, how many games will you give Luke Getsy's style of coaching credit for in those 4 wins? Now, I'm drawing a line in the sand between Luke Getsy's style of play, which is spread it, deacon and dunking it, versus what Justin Fields would like to do, which is run heavy play action and get after opponents that way. That's what I'm classifying as the difference. Of Luke Getsy's style of play. So how many games in the last 4 games would you give Luke Getsy's style of play credit for in those 4 wins? How many games will you give him credit for? Is it 1? Is it 4? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3, 4? How many do you give him credit, his style of play credit for in those 4 wins? I said it was 2. I wasn't as harsh as the people that took the survey. I said I would give him credit for 2 games. I believe it was the San Francisco game last year and the Houston game last year. I would give him credit for. But when he went to New England, he played more, or he customized his offense to fit Justin Fields' skill set. He customized his offense versus Denver and almost got a win there in Denver, which would have been credit to Justin Fields as well. And he customized his offense for the Washington game, and I felt like we fared better in that situation because he changed his style of offense. In the Vikings game, I said it in the pregame, and I deleted the recording today. Last Sunday, I said, look out for Luke Getsy to regress because we didn't have our running backs. And sometimes, guess what we do as offensive coordinators when we don't have all of our trinkets, our little comfy blanket? We resort to what we know, and that's exactly what Luke Getsy did last Sunday and why the offense looked so stagnant when it came out. Yeah, Justin missed some throws. He could have done some things better, but I told y'all I have an analogy for that. But watch this. Watch this. I'm going to go back to and focus for about 2 minutes on Tyson Bagent because I do believe the kid is a gamer. By gamer, I mean he has that swag. He has that confidence. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not really, running for anything. Like people that had a heart their whole path, they're going to be battle tested, going to be hard-nosed and wired, right? And you can have all the will you want to have in football. You can be battle tested. You can have all the moxie. You can have all the swag you want to have. But I think fans underestimate the impact of coaching, right? They underestimate the impact of coaching, right? Most fans don't really know what coaches do, whether it's the head coach, besides speaking at the podium and coming up with cool catchphrases and all this other stuff. But I'm talking about the coordinators, the position coaches, right? What do they actually do? Install the offense, come up with a game plan, call the game plan on game day. They actually come up with the terminology for the offense, which becomes like a whole second language. They actually assign the rules, the protection rules, the blocking rules, the steps, The offensive coordinator has to communicate all that. He has to come up with an entire playbook that spells out. And maybe one day, I'm actually working on a new playbook for myself. Maybe one day I'll share my playbook so y'all can see it. He has to come up with all the terminology, all the steps, all the blocking steps, right? The steps for the O-line, the calls, the QB motions, whether they're open up against the play if they're under center or whether they're open up towards the play, the progressions, where does the quarterback's eyes go forward first in a pass game? Progression, is it a right to left progression? Is it left to right progression? If it's high to low read, is it left to right read? All this stuff is part of the equation for the offensive coordinator. And I believe because fans don't really understand what it takes to put a playbook together, a system together, a game plan, and a call plays on Sunday or Saturday or Friday or whatever level you coaching at, then the coordinators seem to get less criticism. Criticism goes straight to the player, then the head coach, and you rarely hear the coordinators mentioned. Now, Chicago is an exception this year because we've been so bad, and Luke Getsy has been so bad that we couldn't help but talk about Luke Getsy. That's most of our fan base talked about that over the last couple of days. And because of that, I believe we have a huge misunderstanding, right? There's the people that are field soldiers. By the way, shout out to the field soldiers, all the people that subscribe to the channel. I got to get that in there real fast. Those are the people that subscribe to the channel. So if you're in here, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can become part of field soldiers. You can be one of field soldiers, or you know what I'm saying? If he pans out and he just wins the job outright, I'll switch it to Bagent's agents. I don't have a problem with that. It is what it is, right? So I think that's why we have a brewing quarterback battle or controversy on our hand, because most fans don't understand the difference. They don't understand the responsibility of offensive coordinator, right? So the ones that don't understand what an offensive coordinator they do, they're bagging on Justin Fields and say, going straight to, because you don't have answers, you don't have explanations. Or you have the crowd that says, oh yeah, it's everybody's fault. Justin is not absolved of blame in the situation, which I agree with. He's not absolved with blame from the situation. But like I always tell everybody, and I share the analogy about writing a 13-chapter book. If 12 of the chapters of the book is doo-doo and you stick a good chapter in the middle, you can't blame the reader for being a poor reader. And that's exactly what he set up for Justin. And that's what I'm saying is going to be the case for Bagent today. There's going to be a little bit better because Bagent fits Luke's system a little bit better, but it's more than just the system itself being outdated. It's the inexperience of Luke Getsy on top of the system being outdated. I believe this is like a 2010 to 2015 Mike McCarthy offense, right, where they had to do away with. And one of the reasons why Mike McCarthy got fired in Green Bay, because they let the offensive system get stale. And then you have Matt LaFleur come in and update the system to a more he says frozen like Elsa. And by the way, I don't want to freeze like that. That's not a great picture to freeze on. I just wanted to say that for the record. It's driving me nuts. My internet is like Getsy's play calling. It's just stagnant. It's crazy. All right. How about that? Let me know if we back. I got live motion. I got stuff going on. And it looks like we're back. Cool. All right. Maybe we can get through this. Give me about 10, 15 more minutes. We can get out of here. But let me know. Again, let me know. I'll throw the survey back up. We'll put together and piece together, hopefully, a show that's comment, is competent. Are you a field soldier, a Bagent agent? You just want to win. You just want to win. Let me know in the comments. What are you? What do you classify yourself? Again, no judgment, none of that stuff, right? I put out the survey because I recognize there's quarterback controversies brewing in Chicago. I recognize that, right? And we have to be real about it. I don't, and that's why I came up with the take I had earlier. I don't believe people hate Justin Fields or people hate Tyson Bagent. I think people just want to win. That's why I said what I said. That's why I surveyed the way I surveyed, and it got so much traction. Over 350 people commented on that survey on Twitter, by the way. So I just want to put that out there, right? I thought it was a great survey. Where do you classify yourself? If you didn't want to comment, there's no way to be signed. We're just having fun with it. No need to be uptight about it and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ghost of Judah said he's a team Bagent. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I understand why. I really do. I empathize with why. It's the same time. It's the same line. Oh, yeah. I get it. It's something I have to do. Mac products normally don't have issues with video production and all that stuff. I have an iPad, I have a MacBook Pro, and I have my iPhone. And you never have these type of issues usually with this kind of stuff, right? And if I put the survey back up, James, this is what most people are saying. Most people are saying they just want to win, right? And if you put it in that kind of picture, you paint it that kind of picture, regardless of what side you on in the quarterback controversy, that's what it boils down to. People are hardlining for Justin Fields because they know what the kid has had to overcome with this organization being, you know what I'm saying, basically run like the local Popeyes for over 3 decades now, right? So they know what he has to deal with coming to this organization, right? He was here before the GM. The GM hired a head coach the GM didn't get to hire his head coach. On paper, they say he hired him, but I don't believe he got an chance to hire him. And then the head coach hires a guy to run an offense that doesn't fit the quarterback skill set. That's why people hardline for Justin. People hardlining for Bagent because with their eyes and what they know about football, which I agree with, he gets the ball out of his hands fit. Like they can see he fits what Luke Getsy wants to do better, although maybe not be able to spell out all the X's and O's and explain it in detail and stuff. They see, and they can see with their eyes that Justin, there are times, especially early on in the season, where people were allegedly, if you don't know the X's and O's, the schematics of it, they were open, right? But he didn't throw the ball. They're not going to, but at the same time, they're not going to know enough about football to question the why he's not throwing it. Again, he's questioning the whole program. Why is Corey Blessingame your wide receiver 1 in the first play of the game on an empty formation, right? Why are you even attacking the game plan this way? I'm not confident. I would not be confident putting my life on the line with this guy either, but I digress. I just want to win too. So those are my 2 surveys out there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I do, man. I got to add this. I got to get this sound in here because I don't know that we'll have a Coach T's playbook today. Matter of fact, I deleted the graphic, but I still do it. Y'all know how I get down with these X and O's. You know what I'm saying? I hit y'all with it like this.
You know I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it, dog? Huh? Closed casket? Remember that fool in the wheelchair? How you think he got there?
Yeah. That's how he got there. Because when it comes to, now, when we start talking X's and O's, we have a debate about X's and O's. You're going to be like Jake in that wheelchair. When I have to break it down. I got my MacBook Pro set up, but I deleted my graphic for Coach T's playbook. But, again, if I had to break it down play by play, tell you what the blocking scheme was, if it's inside zone, outside zones, if they taking a 6-inch step, 3-inch step, bucket step, drop step, that's offensive line stuff. If they're making a rain call, lightning call, rip call, laser call, all right, to adjust offensive line calls and protections, right? What the running back blocking assignments is it a 3-by-2 running back split, or is it an all slide protection? All slide meaning everybody shuffle one way and the running back picks up the outside guy. And the reason why we do that, the formations, is it empty? Is it loose spread gun or doubles? If it's ace gun, you know what I'm saying? What are all my formations? Empty. My basic formations empty. Loose spread gun or doubles. Ace gun, ace, power I, and then you start playing around with the tight ends. What are your motions, right? What are your motions? Is it if you got a flee motion, fly motion? The fly motion is what they call a jet motion. I call mine fly. Fly is all motion all the way across the formation. Flee is a short motion. Then you just add terminology. You come up with your own terminology for it, easy words, and then your route combination. Are you a numbers guy with your offensive route formations? Do you call out the route numbers as part of your play, or are you a concept guy? Do you give a concept? Meaning, Florida. Florida is flag and out, right? The first two letters or the first three letters equal your route combination, and that makes it easier for your wide receivers to remember. Florida is first letter is F for your flag, or FL, flag, and then O is out. So the combination to the play side would be a flag and an out. Is it a pout, right? Is it a pout? Is it a post out, right? Different coordinators call different things, different ways. But you know what I'm saying? Generally, if I'm looking at something, if I'm looking at a playbook, like they captured both Mike McCarthy's and Sean McVay's playbook, play sheet calls in the Thursday night broadcast a few weeks ago. Believe it or not, I could look at that call sheet, especially Sean Payton's, which was way better organized, by the way, than Mike McCarthy's. I can look at that call sheet and tell you what he was trying to do on that call sheet. He had his personnel. He had his personnel. I believe he has personnel, formation, blocking scheme, the actual play, and the progression. I believe that's what I remember from seeing his call sheet, right? So he had his personnel. Is it 12 personnel? 22? Is it 11? Is it 11 light? If it's 11 big, is it, 22 big? Is it, whatever, 13 big, whatever. He has his personnel. He had his formation. So I'll give you an example of a play call in my offense, right? 11 personnel. I might, instead of me saying 11 personnel, which is 2 words, I may pick an NBA player like I do in my offense that my players know, and I'll give their numbers. I'll say Kyrie. I'll call 11 personnel Kyrie. Well, young people might know that Kyrie wears number 11. You call something, you give them something they can relate to, right? 12, Brady personnel, Kyrie personnel, Brady personnel. Brady wears number 12. So they would know, right? 22, I don't know. Emmitt Smith, right? But I need one word. Smith, personnel, right? So I'll go Kyrie, that's 11 personnel. I'll go Kyrie, 11 personnel, ace right gun, or I'll go ace only. I'll say ace, and players can assume it's gun, but I go ace right, which means 2 wide receivers to one side of the formation, 1 off, but I don't have to say off. The tight end to the opposite side of the formation next to this tackle, right? Quarterback and gun, running back behind the tight end, or opposite to the twin side, other wide receiver out there. So ace left. I'm sorry, that's ace left gun. Y, you don't have to call out the Y if it's regular. So you go ace left gun, Y. If you're going to have your Y off, you say Y off. So Kyrie personnel, ace left gun, Y off. That means you pull your Y stringer off, right? And then you call your play. You call your route combination. So if you're calling a concept route, you call Florida. So Kyrie personnel, Kyrie, ace right gun, Y off, Kyrie. Something that simple. Everybody knows what they're doing. You're moving people around. That's just an example of a play guy. Now, if you want to add motions to it, you go Kyrie, ace right gun, Y off. You go ace right gun, You want to send a guy, you want to send an X in motion across the formation. You go ace, Kyrie, ace right gun, X flea, Y off, Florida. Right? Personnel, Kyrie, ace right gun, the formation, ace right gun, Y off, ace right gun, X flea, ace right gun, X flea, Y off, Florida. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Anyway, football nerd stuff. Only reason I'm talking about all that because I'm rewriting my playbook. I'm actually going through coaching clinic right now, preparing myself to retire the next 4 or 5 years and get back on the sidelines and actually teach high school and coach high school football. That's why I'm excited about that right now. So let me get y'all out of here real fast. I know the show has been quirky. I'm going to delete out the cut-ups and all that other stuff for people watching this later and give y'all my predictions real fast. Let me get y'all out of here. Did I have anything else for the show? There's some topics going on out there. Listen, do me a favor. I don't care if you agree or not. I felt like this, and I got to give him a shout out. Because this is my platform. I can do what I want to on it. I got to give Scoot Jackson a shout out for this article of taking a look at the culture clash between Bears quarterbacks Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent, which discusses the racial undertones around, you know what I'm saying, this quarterback controversy. And I had a great discussion on Twitter with somebody who went in under Scoot Jackson's article on the Twitter and just was like, F you for writing this article. And once we went back and forth in Twitter and I explained to him why it was right for Scoot to write that article, and I explained to him that guess what? If you're not an implicit racist or something like this, why this shouldn't bother you? I think it was, what's the politician's name? Andrew Gillum says, his grandma used to say, you know what I'm saying, only hit dogs holler. If it doesn't apply to you, then don't worry about it. Don't comment on stuff like that. Right. But I think it's very important for us to have a conversation because if you remember in the 2019 season, the Bears came out with the 1936 throwback uniforms. And all the time, George McCaskey didn't realize during that time, the 1936 throwback, during that period, that was a one time the Bears wore the uniform. And during that period, black players weren't even allowed to play in the league. There was a 12-year ban on black players, which George Halas was implicit in applying that ban on black players, right? So when people say, well, we don't have conversations about stuff like that. We just want to watch football, blah, blah, blah. And this doesn't have racial implications to it or has a racial spin to it or twist to it. Everything does. You don't have to agree with me. That's why I got my own platform. And I thought that this was a very well-written article. And if you want to be educated on the subject or why it's important and why those things happen, go check out Scoot Jackson's article in the Chicago Sun-Times. I'm attempting to host a panel to have a discussion in long form, whether people want to participate or not. But I think it's worth the conversation because it's not racism. And I hate the fact that people skip straight to racist or racism, that term, without applying implicit bias as a possible cause for what seems like racism. Implicit bias means you don't even know what you don't know. And just like George McCaskey in the case versus the situation with the 1936 throwback uniforms, the ones with the stripes, right? And the reason why we don't wear them anymore, right? George saw an article that did an extensive story about the 12-year ban on black players and came to the realization, was educated on the subject and realized his father was implicit on this 12-year ban along with, I forgot his first name, Marshall, for the Redskins organization, the Washington Redskins organization at the time, who was the key ringleader, but those guys were buddies, right? And George seeing that let us wear the uniforms that season, but pull the uniforms, rightfully so, because, you know what I'm saying, he was empathetic to the times, empathetic to where we are. And I commend him for that. I commend him for all the work that he's been doing with this staff, a black GM, He's employed Tanisha Wade as the VP of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. He had Soup was there for a while for a players kind of mentor type dude, but he got fired. Anyway, I think it's an important subject to have, so I want to give him a shout out on the show for writing what I thought was a great article. Again, if you get defensive about it, please don't. It's no need. We have to be able to have healthy dialogue about the subject in a mature way. And shout out to whoever that was, the gentleman that I had an exchange with yesterday on Twitter, because it started out as contentious, but by the time we finished talking to each other, I ain't going to give his name out on there because I don't want nobody hating on him or whatever. But after we finished going back and forth, he was like, bro, I realize what you're saying. I see what you're saying right now. You're not calling us racist, but there may be an implicit bias there. And guess what? We all have them. Regardless of your color, there is an implicit bias. I'm uneducated about certain different cultures and ethnicities in this country. And unless I educate myself, I'm not going to know what's going on with it. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying you know everything. You don't know everything. You know what people show you on TV. You see what you see in the media and so on and so forth. So I don't want to hang on the subject long. I just want to give a shout out to Scoop Jackson. So Scoop, if you see this by any means, shout out to you, man. Keep writing great materials. So my final prediction for today, the score is coming next. Here we go. The score, keys to the game. Here's the thing. Again, I told you our running backs are averaging over 4 yards a carry. Luke is averaging running the ball at exactly 20 times per game. If Luke runs the ball 30 times, 25, I want to say 25, 30 plus times a game, that's a key. If he goes under center and runs the ball 30 times a game, that's going to be a major key. Let Tyson do what he does. Let him get the ball out of his hand quick. In the quick game, that's not a scheme, but I understand what people said when they said. So let him call plays and let him get the ball out of his hands quick, which I think he's going to do. I think he's going to get the ball out of his hands. So let him call the game and get the ball out of his hands quick. Have him take some deep shots for the sake of taking deep shots. Not necessarily for completion sakes, but you got to keep the safeties honest. So you can't get too caught up in the quick game and the short game that you forget to move the safeties back by taking deep shots. Whether they work or not, you have to take at least 2 deep shots in the first half, 2 deep shots in the second half. These are the guardrails that I'm talking about that Luke, Coach Eberflus should be giving them. So 30 carries, 15 of those carries need to be from under center, right? Play action, at least 10 plays. 2 deep shots a half, right? And if you do that, and here's my charge to Luke Getsy, go back. If you do that, go back to your call sheet at halftime and make sure you check off what works that worked the first time, and make sure you have a counter play to what works. Meaning, when we stall plays as an offensive coordinator, when I install my plays, I just don't install the power play. You know what I'm saying? Pro right eye, 37 power. Pro left eye, 37 power. I don't just install the power play. The counter measure to the power play is the counter play. So pro right eye, pro left eye, 37 power. I would come back with pro left eye, 36 counter. That means I ran the ball the first time. I ran it power. I pulled, I blocked down, I kicked out with the guard, right, and led up in the hole, and I ran the ball to the left, pulling the guard. The counter to that play, once the defense makes the adjustment, is you come back and you go the same formation, pro left eye, 36 counter, meaning 37 went left, 36 is going to go right. But what you're doing on the counter play is you're pulling the guard and the tackle from the front side of the formation, from the strength of the formation to the weak side of the formation in hopes to catch the defense off guard and run blitzing to the strength, and your running back hits his head on the goalpost. What's the counter play off of it? So you got power, you got counter. What's the next play in the series? The play action. So you can go play action off the power play or play action off the counter play. That is Kyle Shanahan 101. Kyle Shanahan 101. He's either going to run power, counter, powers to set up the counter, or he's going to run inside, outside zone, and he's going to run a counter off of it. Now, what determines whether you run power or counter is the girth of your offensive line. The girth of your offensive line. The girth of your offensive line determines whether you're running, philosophically, whether you're running power or counter. If you have a big, girthy, big offensive line, a bunch of meat, a bunch of hogs, right? That's big, sloppy, and just big for no reason. Sloppy, fat, just big, big, big. Then you're going to run your power. If you have more lean, physically fit offensive linemen, then you're going to run outside zone, inside zone. And then you'll run your counter off of that. You have to coach to your personnel. This is why I foot stump for Lucas Patrick over Cody Whitehair, because I prefer power concepts over zone concepts, right? And Lucas would better fit a power scheme, which I feel like we do well. That's the kind of stuff I see when I watch football. And that's what I'm coaching Luke Getsy up on. I'm saying, when you put together your call sheet, you just don't put a play on the sheet. You put the play that you think you can get away with versus the defense, the counter play, and the counter to that play. So after you go in there and at halftime and you seen play A worked, right? You come out and you call your counter plays to the play that worked. That's what you do as an offensive coordinator. That's what I did. That's coaching 101. Call your play that worked. If it worked, check it off on your list. Oh, green marker, green, or check, right? You call it, that's what they're doing on a little card. They're going check X or nothing. That plays it didn't work. Check that worked. So underneath the play that worked, you should have your 2 counter plays and come out after halftime and you call those plays. Football 101, bro. That's why I'm saying I don't understand what this dude is doing, because he does not do that. I haven't seen him do it. That's coaching 101. But I just be over here rambling. Anyway, so those are my keys. 25 carries. What did I say? 25 carries. No, 30 carries. 15 under center. 10 play action. By the way, get your wide receiver some carries on the jet motions. How about that? Everybody in Kyle Shanahan's offense, everybody's a running back. Your wide receivers carry the ball. Your running backs carry the ball. Your quarterback carry the ball. Tight ends carry the ball. But maybe not tight ends. Right? No Nagy stuff. But get your wide receivers to carry. Valus on a jet motion. A DJ on a jet motion. It's more ways to get guys involved in the game than throwing them the ball or throwing screens to them. Get him the ball on the jet motion. Get Valus confident. Get him in the game. Give him the ball on the jet motion. Did you know that Valus is averaging over 8 yards per carry, whether he's getting the ball out of backfield, whether he's getting on the jet motion? Get him in the game. Get your wide receivers some carries. Everybody should be a running back. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, y'all see my keys to the game. Y'all see what I said. This is, again, my ultimate prediction is the kid is going to flash, but he's not going to be able to overcome Getsy. My final score prediction is 24. Let's say 24-13. 24-13 Raiders. If I'm wrong, then I'll come back and I'm going to stand 10 toes down and I'll stand on my square and I'll give myself the
Anything is possible, got feelings in my cup. I see everything.
That's right. If I'm wrong, if I got it totally off, I'll give myself Drunk Uncle Award on Tuesday's show. Listen, thanks for tapping in with us. I appreciate y'all. Hey, by the way, James, I appreciate that, man, because I love teaching football. I love teaching fans. If you guys knew how many times I got a tweet. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell y'all what made me come back after almost a year off of YouTube. What made me come back is the comment I got on Twitter where a dude or somebody saying, you might be even one of the guys in here, where he said, listen, coach, I see the game.